Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're doing a Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon deck profile. So I'm really excited for this deck, because this deck is an insanely good OTK based deck that plays one of the most nostalgic monsters in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! In the form of Blue Eyes White Dragon. And it's a really awesome deck because we just got a card out of Dawn of Majesty that's a ritual spell that actually makes this deck even more consistent than it was already. And this deck was already insanely consistent. So without further ado, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name in the description of a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Blue Eyes Chaos Max. So this card is an absolutely crazy boss monster that when it attacks a defense position monster, it does double piercing damage, and also it has the ability that it cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects, which is a really good effect for this particular card because it has built-in protection and it's a 4,000 attackable monster. If you attack into a monster that has 0 defense, it's an instant OTK, and there's plenty of ways to actually do that in this particular deck. We then play 2 copies of Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon, which is a really awesome card in this particular deck as well because it has the ability, if this card is ritual summoned using a Blue Eyes White Dragon, when it declares an attack, you can change the battle position of as many monster opponent controls as possible, and if you do, their attack and defense becomes 0 until the end of this turn. And it also has the ability, if this card attacks, you inflict piercing damage to your opponent, which is really, really good. We then play 3 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon, which is the main card that you're going to be using to ritual summon into your Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon and Chaos Max Dragon. We then play 3 copies of Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. By just revealing a Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand, you can instantly special summon this card to your side of the field once per turn. And also once per turn, you can target a monster your opponent controls and destroy it. And this card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect, which is a pretty good effect just to be able to pop a card on the field. We then play 3 copies of Manju of the 10,000 Hand. Manju of the 10,000 Hand is a really good card and one of the best normal summons, and actually really the only normal summon you play in this entire deck, that basically when you normal summon this card lets you add a ritual spell or a ritual monster from your deck to your hand, which helps out this deck a lot to get those cards from your deck to your hand. We then play some incantations in this deck. We play 3 copies of Talismander, which if you guys are unfamiliar what incantations do, you just reveal them in a particular card, whether it be a ritual spell or a ritual monster, special summon them to your side of the field, and then special summon an additional incantation from the deck, and then that incantation will give you a search of either grabbing something from the graveyard or grabbing a ritual monster or a ritual spell from the deck. So for Talismander, you reveal a ritual monster, and then if this card is special summoned by the effect of an incantation monster from the deck, then you get to grab a ritual monster from the deck as well. We then play 3 copies of Kandal. Kandal lets you grab a ritual spell, which is really good, but you have to reveal a ritual spell to special summon it from your hand. We play a single copy of Bookstone, which actually lets you grab a ritual spell from the graveyard if it's special summon. And then we play a single copy of Pencil Plume, which Pencil Plume has the ability to grab a ritual monster from the graveyard to your hand, which helps out the deck a lot to just grab those particular cards out of the graveyard. It helps you out with consistency in the deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, I'm playing a single copy of Dragon's Mirror because it's actually really easy to draw into this card. I wanted to play it at 2, but the deck is really, really tight, so I just played it at 1 currently. But it helps you out a lot in this deck because you can actually use it to go into your Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon, which is a awesome boss monster in this particular deck. By just banishing the materials listed on a Dragon Fusion monster from the graveyard, you can instantly special summon out a crazy powerful card like Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon. We then play 2 copies of the new High Ritual Art. This card helps out the deck a lot with consistency. I play 2 copies of it because it's a card that you have to have a normal monster in your hand because it has the ability that this card can be used to ritual summon any ritual monster from your deck. That is an insanely good card. It also has the ability that you must also tribute normal monsters from your hand whose total levels equal the level of the ritual monster you're trying to ritual summon, and shuffle the ritual monster back into the deck during your opponent's end phase, which is not that big of a deal because usually you're going to summon your Blue Eyes Chaos Max and then OTK your opponent right off the bat, which is not that big of a deal for this deck. We then play 2 copies of Chaos Form, which is really good because it lets you banish a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the graveyard or send a Blue Eyes from your hand to the graveyard to be able to special summon out a Chaos Ritual monster, which is your Chaos Dragon or your Chaos Max, which is really awesome. We play 3 copies of Advanced Ritual Art as well. The Advanced Ritual Arts lets you ritual summon by sending a normal monster from the deck to the graveyard, which is your Blue Eyes White Dragon that you're always going to send to the graveyard, to be able to ritual summon from your hand your copy of your Blue Eyes Chaos or Chaos Max dragons. We play 2 copies of Trade-In. Trade-In is helpful in the deck because it lets you discard a level 8 to draw 2, which helps out again with the consistency of the deck, grabbing the extra cards from the deck. We play 3 copies of Melody of Awakening Dragon. Melody of Awakening Dragon is a really good card because it lets you discard a card to add up to 2 dragon monsters with 3,000 or more attack and 2,500 or less defense from your deck to your hand, which is your Blue Eyes Chaos Max, your Chaos Dragon, or your Blue Eyes White Dragon, or alternative white dragons from your deck to your hand, depending on what you need in this particular deck. We then play 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance, which basically lets you banish 3 or 6 cards from your extra deck to be able to instantly draw 2 cards off the top of your deck for every 3 that you banished, which is a really good effect to just be able to grab those cards off the top of the deck to help you with consistency. But this card has to be the very first card you activate during your main phase 1. But there's not a lot of cards that I'm worried about if I banish from the extra deck. It's basically a bunch of rank 8s and a couple of copies of your alternative ultimate, which we'll get into in just a minute. We then play 3 copies of Xian Spy as well. Xian Spy is an insanely good card in this deck because if you ritual summon out your copy of your Chaos Max on your side of the field, using Xian Spy, you can actually give your opponent one of your incantations that has 0 defense, and then when you do, you can actually just 1 card OTK them at that point by attacking into your copy of your incantation that you gave them, which gives them 8,000 damage, which is really, really cool because it does double piercing damage. It does require you to have an incantation on field, a copy of Chaos Max on the field, and then a Xian Spy to be able to give them the incantation. So it's kind of like a 3-card OTK plus the ritual spell and the ritual monster, but it's still a really good combo to actually just give your opponent that incantation because the incantations will set you up for the whole play as long as you have a Xian Spy, which is really, really helpful. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, since it is a Pot of Extravagance build, we have a lot of duplicates in this extra deck. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon. This card is just too good not to play at 3 when you get the chance to actually summon this card. It has the ability that you use 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons to actually fusion summon into this card, but since you're using all of your ritual spells, you're going to be getting your Blue Eyes White Dragons in the graveyard as quickly as possible. Even with your alternative white counting as a Blue Eyes while on the field or in the graveyard is really good because you're basically playing 6 Blue Eyes White Dragons in this deck, which is really helpful. It has the ability your opponent cannot target this card or destroy this card with card effects, and then once per turn, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. But if this card was fusion summoned using a monster whose original name is Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon as a material, you can target up to 3 cards your opponent controls instead. And this card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect, so it's basically like an upgraded version of your Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, which is an insanely good effect. I really like this card, and it's a really helpful, powerful boss monster that if you late game draw into your copies of your Dragon's Mirror, you're actually going to be able to go into this card pretty easily. We then play a same copy of Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. You can contact fusion into this card by just using 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons that you control. It can be a Blue Eyes Alternative White to just be able to tag those 2 monsters together without using polymerization to summon this card. It can be destroyed by battle, and this card can make up to 2 attacks during each battle phase, and then during the battle phase, at the end of the damage step, when this card attacked an opponent's monster, but your opponent's monster was not destroyed by battle, you can banish that opponent's monster, which is really helpful with this particular deck to handle certain problematic cards that can't be destroyed by battle. This card can actually take them out. We play a single copy of number 97. Number 97 can help you special summon out some really powerful monsters from the extra deck. By detaching material, you're going to special summon out 2 number dragon monsters from your extra deck, and then use one of them to make an XZ summon with the other one, which is pretty good to be able to just attach it as a material because it's going to let you summon out a lot of different XZ monsters. We play a single copy of number 100 because this card is going to be the main one that you're going to summon because it will actually summon you a 9,000 attack point monster, because basically you detach a material from this card and then this card gains 1,000 attack depending on how many ranks you have on the field. So if you detach a material and you have number 97 plus this, it's going to gain 9,000 attack on summon, which is really good just to get this monster out on your side of the field. One copy of number 38, because this card can actually negate spells, which is really helpful for this particular deck. Number 107, because it's one of my favorite XZ monsters in the entire game. This card just shuts down battle phases, which is really, really helpful. One copy of Cypher Dragon, because it can take your opponent's monsters away from them. One copy of number 62, because it's a 4,000 attack point monster that basically you can climb into your copies of Full Armor Photon. By detaching a material from Full Armor Photon, you can actually pop a card on your opponent's side of the field, which helps out. And then Cypher Blade as well, because just detaching a material from this card, you can pop a card on your opponent's side of the field, but you can't use Cypher Blade as an XZ material, so you have to go 62, Full Armor Photon, and then Cypher Blade, or Cypher Dragon, Full Armor Photon, Cypher Blade, which is pretty good to be able to just pop cards. And by playing like this, you're basically playing 2 of each of them. By playing a Cypher Dragon and a 62, you're playing 2 of your starter card, and then playing these, you're basically playing a 1 pop and then a 1 pop as well, but they basically do the same exact thing. We then play a single copy of Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand. This card's pretty good in the deck too, because once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach a material from this card and then target 1 face-up monster on the field. And this turn it has its effects negated, but it is unaffected by other card effects. This card really helps out the deck a lot to be able to just protect stuff and negate card effects. One copy of Dingirsu. Dingirsu can help you by when it's XZ summon, you get to send a card your opponent controls to the graveyard, which is the big effect of this card, to just be able to target or be able to give you a non-targeting removal, which is really helpful. And then a double Zeus to help you board wipe, which helps out in the deck a lot. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really awesome deck. I really love playing around with this deck. This is a deck that I actually carry around with me a lot whenever I go to like locals or something, because it's a deck that you can pull out if you want a really quick duel, because you're usually going to OTK your opponent on the 3rd turn, which is really, really awesome, or the 2nd turn if you're going 2nd, which is really, really nice. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.